All right. Good night. Good night, everyone. I know there are two or three other folks who want to join, but my thing is that, yeah, we got to be fair to those who came on early, on time or early, and be respectful of their time as well. So I'm gonna start, and then I know the others are going to jump in. Um, it's a warm day, so everybody's probably doing something a little extra. Um, good night once again, and yeah, thanks for investing your time in something which is important. Prior to this, I was on a church um, a church event, and we were being reminded that we need to always connect, whether the connection is in person or on Zoom, and when we have the opportunity to do real in person, we should really get there and in person. It's going to get warmer, so I'm looking forward to the in person. But right now, excited to share with you all this new stuff that I am learning, still learning, and trust that it makes a difference to you. So tonight is going to be focused a little bit on the retirement rollover. But let me just say something at the start. It is focused on retirement. It doesn't mean two things. It means that we are still focusing on how money works, but we are focusing on the retirement because that could be one of the important things why we need to understand how money works. One of the important goals which we might need to have. It's called our income replacement. So we don't want to wait until we are 60, um, then to start thinking about that. So when we are 30, we think about it. When we are 40, definitely, because we're in 50s, and a lot of people know about the 59 and a half. You can't do certain things before 59 and a half. But when you have something like this, which I'm going to explain to you tonight, working with the rules of money, you don't have to be 59 and a half. You can be before that and you can be after that. It depends on a lot of things, personal to a lot of people. But first of all, let's get the grounding. We need to understand our 10%, our three rules and three goals, especially the three rules and the three goals. And in retirement, three things I would always say become important if we didn't know before. It's called those withdrawal amounts that we need to use. It's called how taxes affect us. One, two, it's called how much risk are we willing to take in retirement? I know for me, I don't want to risk in retirement because the runway is shorter and what we have earned, that's what we've got to make sure that it lasts us throughout our retirement years. And we pray for a long retirement, 90, 91, 92, 93, batting in the nervous 90s, 95, 100, 101, 102, whatever it is. But fun and joke aside, we need to be prepared for our retirement. And if we've got money somewhere else, we've got to be careful where we've got it. And we don't keep it in certain places. And then we wait for the retirement and say, oh, and guess what happens? One of the big things that I mentioned, the taxes hit us. And then what do? We've got to pay them. We've got to pay them once and so there's a lot of risk we take. All right. So when we're planning for our financial future, we need to look at a couple of things, especially as it relates to retirement. And I trust that I complete this and still have about 10 minutes to tell you a little bit more other than retirement specifically. But before planning our financial future, let's ask ourselves these questions. You don't have to answer me. You don't have to answer me. Just think about it. Can you lose any of what you have saved for your retirement to the market? And what does that mean? If your money is in the stock market, your retirement is in the stock market, as I know it is, and I'll tell you why it is there. Can you lose it during retirement? No, because in retirement, you're looking to replace your income. And if what you have saved up is all in stock market, which is what they call volatile, then you could end up with a good day or a bad day. And we don't need this. In retirement, we need a consistent set of income, a stream of income, as they call it, to help along with if we get Social Security, if how much we get. Um, so we need to know where our money that we are saving, how much of it can we afford to lose in the market? Then we also want to ask ourselves, which I tried to ask you a little bit in a few seconds ago, will you outlive your money or will your money outlive you? And our goal should be that our money must outlive us. Not for the selfish reasons that I hear some people say, oh, they're coming behind me, they could try, they will look after themselves. No. The whole thing about it is that we must try to start conducting our management of our money so that we have enough for our retirement, and when that time comes and we are no longer there, at least we have enjoyed the retirement, we've enjoyed the stream of income, and what is left, we leave it as a legacy for for the people we care about. So we want to be able to have that perfect situation. Nothing in life is perfect, nothing is guaranteed, but we need to start with thinking these things for ourselves. We have to ask ourselves, are you aware of the hidden fees in your retirement plan? And does your current retirement guarantee you lifetime income? Let's look at what are the retirement products that are out there that most of us have heard about or we know about or we are part of or we experience. It's the 401k, the 403b, 457, the TSP, independent retirement accounts. All of those fall into what I call our retirement bucket. So the big question about it now, are we sure that these things, these items, these products, these buckets, which we have for our retirement, will they answer these questions up here? Will we lose to the market? Will we outlive the money? Or will the money outlive us? Do we know what kind of fees we have in all of these retirement products? These are kinds of things that don't matter how busy we are, how much work we've got to do, we've got to spend 10, 15 minutes understanding. So if nothing else happens tonight, you go away thinking about this and say to yourself, especially if you're into those kind of 50s now and or more, hey, I need to put my money somewhere. At one, taxes wouldn't get it as harshly as it can. It wouldn't disappear like things happen in the stock market sometimes, and the value will keep growing. I want growth, and I want a stream of steady income, a steady income stream. So let's look at the 3 rules of money. And what are they? I'm not going to burden you with a lot of stuff. It's 3 rules, just 3 rules that money has rules. We've got to understand it, whether we're thinking of our children going to college, whether we're thinking of our retirement as we are tonight. Anyway, whichever way, we've got to understand the 3 rules of money. And what are they? The first rule is that we must understand money can compound. Wherever we put it, we have to be sure that it is compounding. Now, when we put it in the stock market, it can compound, but it can also do the opposite. It can work against us. So it's not compounding there, it's growing. So it could be awesome, awesomely good, or awesomely bad. So we want something which is steady. Okay, so this is the 1 rule of money. And it has a fancy name. It's called the Rule of 72. It's no big deal. It just says, how long will it take for my money to double? When I have it in a place which is giving me a return. Okay, that's all it simply means. So we take this rule of 72. It's always the number 72. Very smart person, Albert Einstein. He discovered this. So we live with it. It's the rule of 72. It works. And it's live. And it's in the money space. So we need to understand it as well. So we take 72 divided by 6%. And what happens? 12 years, 72, if we do our long division or short division or whatever division we know, 72 divided by 6 gives us 12 years. So it simply means that my money will take 12 years to double. And in this example, which is on the screen, am I talking or are you seeing? Nobody saying nothing? Lord have mercy. And there. You're not seeing my screen? You weren't seeing all the time? Good thing Are you seeing now?
Yeah, the presentation is on now.
Yay, guys. But why didn't you tell me that before? It's the jolly good thing I
We,
caught myself. I
we,
said, you know what? I'm not seeing this green thing here. They sit there quietly. Come on. Do I need to say stand up and shake your hands? I mean, if you're falling asleep. No. Let's get this right. So we're looking at, and Vida didn't say anything, or Torah. Come on, guys. Right. So we need to understand whether we're looking at our retirement or our children's education or whatever we're looking at. We're in a space that got rules. It has rules. We have to understand those rules. Okay? So one of the first rules is the rule of 72. We've got to make sure that our money that we're putting up so judiciously, so religiously, so conscientiously for the retirement bucket, we've got to be careful that it is growing safely. We got to be very careful that it is growing. Okay? So rule of 72 says divide 72 by 6, which is the interest that I'm going to get on my wonderful retirement savings. It takes me 12 years for my $10,000 to become 20, another 12 years for it to become 40, and another 12 years for it to become 80. So it doubles up every 12 years if I use 6%, or if I get 6%. Now, if I were to get 8%, I divide 72 divided by 8, I get 9. And it simply means that every 9 years, my money, my $10,000 in this example, will double up. So in the first 9 years, it becomes 20, from 10 to 20. In the next period, it becomes 40, it's doubled in the next 9 years. So in 18 years, it is 40,000. And in another 9 years, it becomes, that will be 27 years down the road, it becomes 80. Now, my friends, these years seem long. But when you start working young and we sign on that dotted line and we start paying that 401k contribution or the 403b or the 457, which are the items in the retirement bucket, or for anybody who is fortunate to work in the government, the treasury, it's called the TSP, then this is how long we could be working. And when that time reaches, we say, what? I hear 10 years. What? I in this job 18 years. What? 30 years? It happens. It happens. And we've got to be careful that all of those years that we've been putting that blood, sweat, and tears out there, that something is left that is good from that income. It's not just disappearing from paycheck to paycheck. It's not just sitting in the bank getting cobweb, nor is it disappearing like magic in the stock market. It's got to be somewhere good. So if we were going to get 10%, same rule of 72. You divide 72 by 10 in 7 years and a little bit. My 10,000 will double. My 20 will double again in twice that. One observation from this great, all of this here, don't be worried with the figures, just understand what it means. The higher the return on my money, the shorter it will take for it to grow and double. And that's common sense. So if you're getting 6%, it takes 12 years. You're getting 8%, 9 years, fewer years. If you're getting 10, it's taking 7.2 years. What about if you were getting 13? Think about it. Wouldn't we want to have that? Wouldn't we want to have a 9% and 9.5 compounded uninterrupted? Those things exist, especially the 9.5. Forget the 13. The 13 is something else. Which if time permits me, I'll explain that at the end. But at 9.5, that's awesome. And you have that peace of mind. Because it's not going to be up to the down tomorrow, up to the down tomorrow. It's up guaranteed all the time. because we have to be careful about some other things that happen in this money world. This money world. There are two things other than the rules of the game. There are two, I would call them, they are, what do they say? They're ever present. There's nothing we can do. And it's taxes and inflation. Yes, taxes and inflation. You can't stop that. I can't stop that. That's the rule of the game. They exist. They gonna tax us. The inflation is gonna happen. Nothing we can do. What we can do is become educated about it and safeguard ourselves from so much of it. I call it erosion factors. So if I were to save $100 across here and I got 5%, I might think, you know what, I have got $105. But I don't, because they take only taxes. They take out $1.25 and I have $103.75. And I say, all right, kind of, it's okay, but it's not okay, my friends. The other erosion factor which exists everywhere, and remember, we're thinking of retirement. So you have to beat inflation and you have to beat taxation to have a decent retirement income. I'm not telling you that I'm in a good place. No, I know this now. And I want you to know it earlier. And I want you to share this with people who are younger. So by the time they are 40, 45, hey, time flies. You've got to start preparing for that retirement. So you're saving aggressively when you're younger to enjoy that income replacement when you're older. And inflation here is 3%. Right now in the US, it's closer to 4. And that's not a good thing. So from the $103.75, you have to take off the $3 and you're left with 75 cents. So the real rate of return is none of these things. 6, 8, 10. No, no. The real rate, if you were getting 5 after the taxes and the inflation, all you get is 75 cents. That is certainly not good enough for now, for tomorrow, or for retirement. It's not good enough for retirement at all. So we have to understand more of the rules of money. Let's understand how it grows. Money grows in 3 ways. It's our money, paycheck to paycheck. We got it. We've got to do something sensible with it as we prepare for retirement. Because we don't want to be caught, as they say, with our trousers falling down to our ankles. We want to be caught in a good place. And we can if we observe certain things and take certain actions. So money grows in 3 ways. Fixed. This is if you put it in the bank. So if you work in 20 to 25 years and this is the only place you put your money in the bank and in the CDs, my friends, call it tomorrow about your life, try to take some of it out and put it at a place where you get more what? More rate of return. Because if it stays here, this will never be enough for your retirement. Never. It will look good, but because inflation is eating at it so fast, and you're taking the taxes out of the growth so monthly and so frequently and so consistently, you're not going to be left with retirement. So if you get it out here, and you put it's not good. If you have it all in a mutual fund, or called like they're so sustainable experts. Oh, I have a JP Morgan chain. Oh, I have a Morgan this, that, careful. It's increase its tax because it is market active. It's a stock market, it's raw stock market. Yes, it can. But you can have funds which are good. Sometimes stages with age, you should have funds to retire. There is no guarantee. Nothing exists here. now that you're 6 years old, which is more guaranteed because they were lucky in the years gone by. So this is the stock market. You get growth, but no safety. The third way you want your money to be positioned, especially as you think of retirement, especially as you want peace of mind, especially when you don't want to go to sleep and sleep with one eye open, like I did when I had some crypto. And my son woke me up in the middle of the night. He said, Mom, you got to sell the Doge, sell the Doge. I said, what? He said, yes, because it's going down fast. And he was right. So I sold it at 3 a.m. in the morning. That is no way to live. That is no way to live, my friends. Because by 7, 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, because with Doge, you trade all the time. With crypto, it's trading all the time. But we dabble in that when our hearts are good. You stop when you say, well, I'm a little older, I don't need to be in this crazy stuff. Um, so the index way is the best way. You get safety and the growth. And why I say that? Because when the market is up, you're going up. When the market is going down, you don't go down. You plateau. So that is why we need to find something which is going to guarantee us a return for like 10 to 12 years. So we have to be thinking forward. Only God controls the future. I always say that. Anything I teach, I always predicate it with that. Only He controls the future. But He has given us some intelligence. So we need to make sure that somebody dropped off. Who was it? Are they gone? No, they're still there. So He has given us intelligence to make decisions. So we want to be able to have a guaranteed set of income growing at an agreed rate and compounding in an uninterrupted way. That's what we want as we get closer to retirement. But we've got to take those decisions before the retirement hits us. That's the thing. Even if we are in retirement, there's still things we can do, especially if we've got liquid money. We need to position ourselves quickly out of that. So money grows, we want it in an index, and I'll show you how that index works for retirement. We've got to understand one other thing before I get to that, how the money gets taxed. Because these are the basic rules of the money. It compounds, we understand how it grows, we must understand how it gets taxed, because taxes never go away. Taxes do not go away when we retire. Let's remember that. Taxes then get to work on our retirement. So our 401k gets ready to be taxed when we are retired, or when we are getting there. Then it's when it starts to get to us, the taxes. Why? Because if we were saving conscientiously all those years, we would probably have a nice little nest egg. Nice little nest egg. But the taxes are going to hit it. All right? So we've got to be careful. Tax is going to hit us anyhow. So we just got to be at the right place, the right time, and try to mitigate the losses from the taxes. Or even if it hits us, the taxes, we try, please don't let it hit all of it. Let it hit some of it. All right. So how taxes work? Different things are taxed differently. So our savings account, our CDs, all these fancy things here in the first bucket, they're taxed now. Now for now. When we make a little money in our savings account, when we grow in our CDs and we get a 3% over six-month period, 9-month period, a year, whatever CD we got, the bank, this is all banking stuff, we get taxed on it right away. It doesn't wait. It doesn't wait. So every year in our tax returns, they ask us these questions and we have to show, oh, yes, they tax us whatever it is. And we pay the taxes right away. Not then, they took it out already. Tax later is the one I was telling you about. It's a retirement bucket. They do not taxes, or the IRS does not tax as we work. It taxes when we are at that part of life where we want the money, where we're going to take the money. Sometimes we want the money before. That is not such a good thing because in addition to the taxes, three things happen in addition to the taxes. You pay the taxes on what you take out. You pay the penalty if you're less than 59 and a half. And here the nice part. Because you are withdrawing that money, your own money, which grew, the next time you pay taxes, which in the following year, and let's suppose you're still working, you're going to be taxed on that like income. So it's licks, 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 blows, 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 blows everywhere. Blows when you're taking the money out, penalty if you're under 59 and a half, and blows the next tax year. So we've got to be very careful how we use this bucket. It is a good concept because when all of this was constructed, it was different. The intention was that when we took the money out, tax rates would be lower than when we started. There is no evidence that that is going to happen. Taxes are going up. And I am no expert, I never pretend to be one. But I can say very clearly that when there is a lot of debt around, national debt, the only way we're going to get, or one of the ways we're going to be able to recover from that is by doing something with the taxes. There's taxes and there's interest rates. There are different economic policies, but don't let me go into that at all. So taxes are likely to keep going up. And if taxes are going up, when we are ready to get these monies that we've worked so hard for, judiciously put in every fortnight, every month, we're going to be taxed big time. Big time. 2 times. Then we've got the tax advantage accounts. We're not going to talk too much about those tonight, but these are your Roth IRA. That's good, but it has limitations. You still got to wait until 59 and a half, but you're putting them in its tax advantage. You've got this 529 college savings. Another time I'll talk to you about that, but that has limitations. If one of your goals is to keep your children and grandchildren in college or prepare for their college, this has a lot of teeth. Because if they don't go to college, you lose the tax benefit. If they decide to, good part is that it can go to another child. The other part is that when you disclose to the folks who give out federal assistance to college students, federal aid, when you disclose you've got a 529, it acts as a penalty. So you've got to do something which is indexed. Remember, we said money grows in 3 ways: fixed, variable, and index. That word comes back again. So if you made no more notes tonight, just write down this thing: index strategy, index strategy, index strategy for retirement, index strategy for my other goals. We're not covering the other goals tonight, but we're going to look more closely at the retirement story because that's important. So we want to be careful. I'm not going to cover executive bonus, but this is important for people who have small businesses. Eggs, index, the word again is important. So index comes up every time. Retirement, business, preparation for college, whichever goal we've got, that word comes up every time. And cash value life insurance, that comes up every time because when you marry the index strategy with cash value life insurance, you got an awesome nuclear bomb to beat your taxes and your inflation. But let's look at what we really want to do. Now we have this word in our vocabulary, index. We want to have, as we prepare for retirement, we want to move some of our money, whether it's in the bank or it's in the 401k or the whichever thing you call it, whichever retirement vehicle. Let me be very professional at all times, not whatever you call it. Whether it's in the 401k, the 403b, the 457, the TSP. TSP grows a lot, it's over the years, yes, it has done well. But as we move towards retirement, do we want it to be all over the place because it's in the stock market? Unpredictable, volatile? No, I don't think so. So one word we know, very important to understand, is an index strategy. For retirement, we want an indexed annuity. More specifically, a fixed indexed annuity. So if you write down no other notes, you wrote the word down index strategy, and you're going to write fixed indexed annuity. Now, we could get a fixed indexed annuity in one of 2 ways. It's called the non-qualified funds. It depends where you get the money from. Because the thing about an annuity, you're going to be putting it away in that safe place with a little risk. You don't want to take access to it too quickly. You want it to ramp up a lot of growth. And then you're going to say, turn on the tap. Let me get my income stream for my retirement so I can go on my travel and my trips and my entertain the grandkids and do whatever takes my fancy. So you create this fixed index annuity, but you have to have some money to live. You can't pump up everything inside here because you're putting it here to stay a while, to grow a while within a good index strategy, a good index arrangement, so that you can have a nice stream of income. So that's the reason why it's important where we're taking the money from. Now, non-qualified money is money in our savings, checking, CDs, and our stocks. So this is our money. It's after-tax money. So we can take this and we can put it in the fixed index annuity. Yeah, so we need a lot of guidance when we are going to set up our fixed index annuity. It's not something to hear in the left ear and go through the right ear. No, or else the 401k is going to bite us harder than we know, harder than we can handle, hotter than we can handle. Or we can take some of this qualified money, which is money from which no taxes have been taken yet, and we can put them in the fixed index annuity. And the qualified money, you can mix up these two monies. You can create an annuity with non-qualified. So if you have nice-ish balances, create that fixed index annuity because you want to achieve less risk in your retirement years and a stream of income in your retirement years. And you want to enjoy a good tax situation. Okay, those three things we need to be very careful in our retirement years. Because remember, we can't do the punches anymore. We've got to try to prepare for those years. Or you can do fixed index annuity with a qualified money. And qualified money is money in these things. FTSB is the third savings plan. And the 401k and this you can have a fixed index annuity. Of course, we need to do this with guidance, and that is why these sessions are on, so that you understand the money game. There are rules. It's important at my retirement, but you don't wait retirement to prepare. That is what we can do. We can't wait for retirement to prepare for retirement. We've got to be aware of retirement from our 20s, and we've got to be thinking about it as we go down the road. But let's be truthful. Every one of us remember our 20s. It's about retirement. No, we don't. And nobody tells us about it. So we just go down the road, we buy clothes, we do whatever. But we gotta change a little bit of what is in our head and what we are willing to listen to. Because you want to save it now to be comfortable later. Of course, you want to be healthy along that path as well. Because health and wealth eat good together. What is without health? What is one without health? So I always say that because it's not the whole everybody think about what it is. So this is the history of the market. And this is here to show how volatile our money is in that if our retirement bucket is solely around the one that has 401k for 3 for quite and so on. This is what happens over time in the stock market. It's all the rise from the S&P 500 since 1928. I go back so far. Aerospace itself, all the things in green, that's the stock market is rising. All the things in purple, the stock market is going up. See what's going on here. If you were to retire in one of these years, you were getting a very little nest egg that still is going to be taxed. Realize that? When it's all years, retirement of years, you're very decent, still not going to be taxed. These years, if you're retired in these years, Lord, we gotta really doing something because the value of your 401k for your budget and it's not below, it'll be taxed. So we gotta be careful. And this is where I follow S&P. Now, there are indices, and there are other indices which you can use in a fixed index annuity. There's all the risk kinds. It's because it's a very respected index. It's the largest private companies in the United States. It tells how you remember buying shares and buying shares. So shares and supply all of that is okay. So we fix it and only rely on S&P because the Nasdaq was index to got Lumos, you got JP Morgan Chase, you've got another one. And chances are one of them will be all of them transfer. So you want to be able to fix index to that's one. And then we understand we must be in some kind of index strategy for our retirement. And then we have to understand really why we must not be only in the stock market. This is something I want to show you. So people might say, well, no, I don't believe you. The stock market is good. It grows plenty money. Yes, I like it too. But I lost there too. So I know what it does too. So look at this. In year one, let's say your stock portfolio went down by 10%. You're right. It will grow back by 10% in year two. But tell me the truth. Are you back to where you started? There's a song that used to be back where we started. All right. So you had $100 example, and it went down by 10%. You ended up with $90. You said, no worries. I'm going to grow back in the next year. So next year it grows back by 10%. But you didn't start from 100. You started from 90. So 90 plus 10% of that gives you $99. Are you better off than when you started? Are we even back to where we started? No. We are worse off than where we started. Look at one more I'll show you. If the stock market went down by 20% in the first year, say no problem. I got a nice long runway. So it's going to grow back in the next year. When we are retired or getting to retirement, we don't want these kinds of crazy stuff. If we're going to stay in the stock market, let it be minimal. Not everything. And so it went down by 20%. My $100 became $80. And the next year, my $80 grew by 20%. What's 20% of 80? A fifth of 80 is how much? $16. So 80 plus 16 is 96. Am I back to where I started? Nope. I'm worse off than where I started. So there is something that we need to understand between the average and the actual return on our money. You know, there used to be a book a long time ago, How to Lie with Statistics. So when you say when you're told or when you hear that the stock market goes down by 10% and you're going to recover by 10% the next year and you're going to be zero, it's mathematically correct. But in reality, in dollars and cents, it's statistically correct, but it is realistically wrong. Because you are worse off. Point to understand, it takes a longer time to recover from a downside in the stock market than simply the 10% which it had lost. The larger the loss, the longer the time it takes to recover. When the stock market went down in 2008, it took a long time to really recover. So this is why we need this. And the word is here again. The two words that I ask you to remember and write down. The indexed, well, this is not even correct. The index strategy. That's what we want. Why we want that? We want a fixed index annuity with an index of no cap. No cap, so that means it could grow like the stock market or as agreed, or probably we don't always get the full benefit of the stock market, but we're protected when the stock market goes down. It's a guarantee. Look at how this works. In year one, we got an 18% return. Boom. So all right, come on. So we are here, 18%. And so in the stock market grew by 108 by 18%, stock market goes up. And my FIA, which has no cap and a floor, it has a floor because it wants a soft landing. My money just goes across here because the second year, the stock market goes down by 15%. When I'm in the raw stock market, take 15% off of this. I'm at 100. Yeah? But because I'm in an FIA, something with this this magical word indexed in it, my 118 stays 118. It doesn't go boom, 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 boom down here to 100 like this one. No, it doesn't. It stays here because it's a guaranteed return with a floor. Guaranteed return with a floor. That's what we want to have our money in when we are getting closer to retirement. We want something with a guaranteed return and a floor for a soft landing. I don't know about you, but when I was 25, 26, I could jump, skip, hop, do everything, anything. Jump across the trench, everything. But you can't do that now without, probably damaging some sort of your foot or something. Never mind how hard you try. So we don't want to be taking these kinds of risks here. Year three, stock market makes a nice recovery. Look at here, 10%. So my $100 becomes $110. Lovely. But my FIA grew from the 118 to 130. This is a 10% growth on where I was. A 10% growth on where I was. The 10% growth, if I were in the stock market, would have only brought me up to here, 110. And then in the next year, stock market take a little 5% loss. So my stock money goes down from 110, take off 5%. I lose a few bits here and I go down to 104. You can use a calculator and make the calculations. It is correct. So what do? I am here in my FIA. Remember, it grew by that 10% and it's gone to 130. But when the stock market went down by 5% in year four, stock market went here. But my money just ride in the tide. So you lock in your growth and never have losses. That's what an FIA does for you. It locks in your growth without losses. You may lose a little bit of money if you don't get all of the magnificent returns of the stock market, but you can't be that greedy. You want to be safe. You are growing, always growing, always growing, never going down here hoping that, oh gosh, I'm going to swim back up. Yes, across the Demerara River, but I'm going to make it because I'm strong. Can't make it. They're going to send a lifeline for you somewhere here because we can't make it across the Demerara River or across the trench. So we want to be in a safe place where we get growth and safety together. So it's growing, stock market doing the dance, I happy, I'm guaranteed. Stock market growing, I growing too. We're all growing like cousins, but stock market going down, I don't want to be like that losing cousin. I want to be right here. So we want growth and safety as we prepare for retirement. What do we do then? What do we do? There are two choices we've got. We can ask ourselves, this is a big question to ask ourselves. Are we looking to take income in the next 10 years? That means, are we stop working, we just going to enjoy the money? That's a very important question to ask because it determines where you put it. Or So if the answer is no, we're still looking for some growth. So I would say at 59, we're still looking for some growth. In our 50s, we want growth. So we will go with a little more aggressive FIA, fixed index annuity, still the fixed index annuity, but a little more aggressive one because we are still looking for growth and accumulation safely. So we would take an FIA with a particular company, one of them, one of the companies. I'll share it with you in a minute. And if we are saying, no, I had enough of this work thing, I want income right now, we have to then put our money, whether it's qualified money or non-qualified money. The non-qualified is the thing in the bank or in those places under the mattress or wherever we've got it, or in the CD. And the qualified money is those monies in our 401k, 403b, or 457, or TSP. Those are the qualified monies, but we can't mix the monies. We've got to take out maybe two FIAs if we're that fortunate. One from the qualified funds and one from the non-qualified. But if I say, well, yeah, I want my guaranteed income right now, I have to take a different strategy. Same FIA, but which one? Now, this one is for if we want growth and accumulation. And this is not anybody's illustration. It simply says that at age 50, which is why I said we've got to be thinking ahead, a little bit ahead. So we think ahead spiritually, we think ahead financially, we think ahead, and we give thanks at all times. So if at 50 we say, okay, I am going to have need for this money, in the next 10 years, we can still do the aggressive because we are still pretty young. So we go with Athene, the Performance Elite, 10%, 10 annuity, and right away, I think they give us what you call it, a bonus. They give a bonus. So, and this person seemed to have had $500,000. So yes, it has it. It's based on a premium account and a premium bonus of 75,000. So right away, if you had 500,000, you pop it right here. If you had less, you also pop it. If your objective or your goal, so this is not something that you just take a big paintbrush and paint everybody the same way. If people are in their 50s, their early 50s, and they want a little more aggressive growth, they're going to go to Athene. And then they get this a bonus and they grow. Now, look at this, when they're 26, when 10 years from 2026 to 2036, look at how much they've got, 1.4 million. They can then decide, oh, well, then I want to turn on the income stream or I want to be more aggressive again because people are working longer now. So it's all a choice, it's all individual. But the most important thing to remember, don't leave all the money in the 401k. That's one. Don't leave it in the CDs. As we grow older, we get some advice and decide on an FIA, fixed index annuity. What's an annuity? It gives us a guaranteed stream of income at some point that we decide, depending on the product that we take. So we took our simple $500,000 when we were 50. When we are 60, we got 1.4 million. That seems decent, right? And you're growing all the time. You never have a minus. Did you see any minuses inside here? This is how it's earning. There's no minus here. Some years going to be better than others, but it ain't no minus. It's just growing safely all the time. So that's what we want. So Athene gives us that. Then this is a summary for Athene. It's giving us our 4 pillars. Always remember our 4 pillars. It gives us growth. It gives us safety. It gives us a tax deferred. But this person went, let me tell you what they did. They kept it until they were 65. So they had closer to $2 million. Yeah. When I saw the 1.4, I said, oh my gosh, yeah, we could take a little retirement here now. But no, at 65, they had 1.9. So this is what the FIA in Athene Performance Elite 10 gave us. A 15% bonus, but the bonus is bigger now. So never mind this slide. There is a larger bonus going on right now. I think is until the end of June. There's a larger bonus going on right now. So we get the growth, we get the bonus, and it's uncapped. We get a tax deferred, nice little sum of money of 1.9 million at age 65 that we can certainly use. Take out, take out, take out. It becomes a stream of income at that point because we have grown it. And we have peace of mind because in that wonderful stock market, had we stayed in the 401k or any of those items or in that bucket, we wouldn't have had the peace of mind because it would be up and down and all around because there's no safety there. But there is safety in the FIA with Athene. Let's be careful also. The companies with whom we have these FIA relationships, that choice is also very critical. You don't want a little known company that your neighbor told you about, or the boy down the street, or somebody. It's just as important as to where we place our money as placing our money. So we want to be in an institution that is reputable, just like your bank. You're not going to pick some bank down the street that some man come from some place and he gather up a couple of people and he put up a nice painted place and you go on and put your money there. No, you wouldn't do that. You're going to try to get a bank which is FDIC insured. So you want a company with strength. Strength in its history, strength in its numbers, numbers meaning financial numbers, and strength to make sure your money is safe. So we are very careful with the companies we choose. Now, you achieved all four of your objectives here in this FIA. You have a death benefit for your income protection, your generational wealth, and certainly nobody on this call is going to say, oh, left them young people, they got to make their own way in the world. No, we don't want to think like that. If we think like that, then you know what? Sometimes they don't deserve it, but we've got to be gracious enough, forgiving enough to say, well, you know what? I still want to put them in a good place. Why? Because I think that's part of our role, that we create a better environment, whether it be educational, financial, for our young people. But at the same time, we need to equip them with good values, with responsible attitudes, with spiritual grounding, all of those things going on. We are not a compartmentalized human. We have ignored our financial education, so now we're getting some financial education, but it doesn't mean that we forget all the other things and say, oh, we're only going for this. No, we are going for everything because without health, we can't enjoy the wealth. Without a responsible attitude and good values, we can't protect what we have accumulated. We will waste it. Then where will we be as a family, as a community? We will be back to square one. I don't think anybody wants to be back to square one. So the four-pronged approach using the FIA helps us to accomplish income protection, income replacement, and generational wealth. So write this down. There are three goals which we have. Whether we're working towards our retirement, whether we're working to protect our children, whether we're working to help our young people grow, whether we want to help them to go to college, whatever our ambitions are, we want these goals to be accomplished financially. Protect the income, replace it when we are in the retirement years, but you can't replace it then. You've got to prepare for it before. And we want to leave some generational wealth. And even our teachings, our biblical teachings, speak very, very profoundly about the necessity of generational wealth, of legacy. So those things they're all there. They're all there. It's not that money is king. Never could be, never will be. Money can't rule our lives. But we have got to rule the money and make sure that it works for us. And the only way we're going to do that is we have to understand the game. It's a game. It's a game out there. And then if we want to not grow our money, but we want to take that income stream right away, there's another place that we can put it. And what this does, it gives us a bonus right away on our money, and then it compounds annually at 9.5% for 12 years. A lot of people have got annuities, but they don't grow like this. And they are at the point where they need to grow it like this. So we might know some people like that. They might want to bring it over to something that gives them a, a bonus and it grows compounded for 12 years. It's also important for those people with the 401k, the 403b, the 457, the TSP, all those deferred retirement vehicles that in the stock market, you need to bring some of it here. Why? Because the rules and the laws allow the functioning of a fixed indexed annuity, that it can guarantee you 9.5. And the strength of the company is also very vital. The credibility of the company is vital. The longevity of the company is vital. So there are few on the platform, but the Nationwide is for those who want to have that income right now. They want to turn on right away. But if they're in their 60s, they're still working, everything's still, going pretty good, I would say just put it there, and if you're 60 by 70, if you're 62, 63, whatever, and you've got that money there somewhere, it's non-qualified, you bring it and you put it somewhere that gives you this 30%, and you can turn on I say turn on the tap of your stream of income. Turn it on if you don't want to wait the full 12 years, that's fine. You turn it on at year 7, year 8, year 9, but no, be very conscious that the earlier you turn it on is the less money you would have made. But there are many reasons why you probably don't want to wait. You want to, hey, I want to turn on my money. I want to use it. And it's your money. And you've made a sensible decision with it, so why not? It's like lifetime income. Once you turn it on, it's lifetime income. So what do we need to do? This index is the word, INDEXED, index strategy. Fixed indexed account, FIA, with reputable company. That gives us the safety, the protection, and minimization of risk for our later years. The choices we make all those choices depend on what our goal is. If we want the income right now, then we go a particular way, we go Nationwide. If we want the income the money to work a little longer in a safer place, then we go Athene. And then we could go wherever else we want, but just take our money and make sure it's growing. It really grows a lot. I mean, this is a very important screen to remember. Look at this. You put in $500,000, and when you're ready at 65, you got 1.9, and you don't have to worry about stock market bumping all around. Now, I wish I had that 500,000, but I'm going to teach you about it and want you to do it. So, what's our next move? Look at those 401k amounts that we have got and put them into an FIA. Why? Because you're getting growth, you're getting safety, you're getting a bonus at the time when you start. The fees, no fees on the growth and accumulation. It's tax deferred, just like everything else. And you have guaranteed lifetime income when you turn on that stream. And you know what? You have some generational wealth for those folks who are after you. Seems like a good deal to me. No, but seriously, it's more than a good deal. It is something which we need to do. Once we are in that place, we need to do it. And it doesn't have to be $500,000. Every concept is applicable to us. We don't have to have the $500,000, but we will take the action to protect what we have. So that's why it's called retirement rollover. So, but we also, as I said, we want to make sure it is with our reputable company, our ranked company. Athene ranks high for both 24 and 25, 2024. There's some other ones which are pretty good. Alliance Life, the Corebridge, Financial, Mass Mutual, and Nationwide, but they're different for different things. So if we want the stream of income right away, let's run here. If we want to be a little more aggressive and grow it a little more, let's go here. Yeah. And these others, there are some other reputable companies which are there. They're strong, they're credible, they have good liquidity, they have good, strong management. Those are key things we look for when you're assessing a company. And I did that in a former life, assessment of companies and strength of companies. So, you have to, there are certain ratios that you have to calculate, and this and that and the other, and who is the management, and etc., etc. So, what's our next step? Let's find out our assets. Let's grow. Let's put our stuff in a index strategy for our retirement. We have to identify the strategy, whether we want it to grow or we want income right now. That's all. And remember why we have to have our financial statements when we are doing an annuity, because remember, you're putting this money and tying it up literally for the 10 years or whatever period you choose. You're not going back to it every time and taking out money, taking out money. Yes, they allow you to take out some money, but you defeat the purpose when you take out the money. So we put enough here that we don't have to live on. We're not depending on it to live on it, which is why they make when we make this assessment as to where to put it and how to put it and how much, we have to understand that you have money to live on. You're not gonna be running in here like a tin cup every year. It destroys the purpose. You're doing this with a part of your savings, with a part of your 401k, or all of it if you choose, to be able to have less risk, less taxes, and growth, serious growth, guaranteed without that risk. And you take the money when you want, whenever you decide you want to turn on the tap and say, well, hey, I had enough of this working thing, so I'm ready to enjoy my money. That's about it. So we covered the rules of money, the money game. It applies not only to our retirement rollover, but why the focus tonight was on retirement rollover is that a lot of us might have monies either in the bank, just keeping it there because it's looking nice, nice and fat, 6 figures, but don't keep it there because it makes no sense. Makes no sense. You need to put it into a fixed indexed annuity. There's also another product. It's called an Index Universal Life. I didn't cover that tonight because time wouldn't permit me mixing all these things up together, but that's a critical one too. Where it's an index-based strategy as well, but that requires you to have, like, if you're over 50, you have to take a medical and so on and so on and so on. Well, a lot of people can take it. I took one over 50. But if you're not going that route, then we make sure that you take that money out of that 401k, pay some of the taxes off one time because you're gonna pay them anyway, or and then you get into the fixed indexed strategy. It's always indexed, and that's simply what it is. Right. So, any questions, my good people? I hope you picked up one or few nuggets. And not only that you make the decision. Don't look at it and leave it there, leave it. I don't know what I'll do. No. Ask somebody, what are the best options for me to move my money from this risky place to a more controlled environment? That's really the question you're asking yourself. Move my money. Yes, please.
Yes, I just quickly want. You hear me?
Yes, I am.
Yes, I just want to quickly share that I can testify to what you said about the taxes and your 401k. I had a TDA as a teacher, TDA, which is the tax deferred annuity. And I heard ever since about the penalty before age 59 and a half and the taxes. And I was just questioning myself before I parted WFG, my own money. So I did feel it last year when I wanted to take out 70,000. Uncle Sam withheld 14,000 and give me 56. Okay.
Miss Ellen.
This year when I filed my taxes, I paid again. because I was
Oh,
told
yes.
that the
Income.
money that came to me, my money that I saved,
Mhm.
that you already take out 14,000, it's seen as income.
That's
So
right.
right now I'm paying back federal
Mhm.
$5,800. And the
Yes.
state just sent me a nice little check for $63. So I smiled.
Right. So the state ones are normally we get away with that, but the federal we can't. Let's
Right.
just be understanding. And the key to all of this is one thing. They teach us about accumulation, but they do
Mm-hmm.
not teach us about distribution and withdrawals. The focus, my friends, tell your young people, tell your whoever, tell everybody, the focus is on accumulation. Why? Because with accumulation, financial advisors get a lot of commission. Let's face it, that's what it is. Accumulation is what is the goal, not sensible distribution. When you have distribution, you need to start running to insure your money. But sometimes it's late. Sometimes it's late. So it's not a criticism of the 401k. Oh no, it has its place, but we have to know when to switch gears out of that place. We have to know when to switch gears. And the understanding of how money works and how this works, especially the one thing which you're not going to see anywhere. It teaches, the whole system teaches us about accumulation, preparation and accumulation. They do not ever teach us about distribution because then is when the reality is going to come.
Mm-hmm.
The accumulation is nice because you don't pay taxes. You carry home more money in your pocket, in your bag, and you're able to stop off at some mall and buy more things. Yes, I'm telling you because don't think that I didn't do that too. You got more money in your hand then. But we got to think not only then, what is going to happen when the distribution starts or the withdrawals or the worst part, when they tell you that at 73, they're going to make you take it out. Why? Because you it has accumulated enough for some taxes which are substantial. It has grown enough for some taxes which are substantial. But remember that green and purple slide? Some up, some down. That's where the 401k is. So in a good year, you're good. But in a bad year, we're not too sure. We're not too sure. So let's get sensible. Let's get real. Let's talk to people that we know and let's make the right decision. Assessing our finances, let me tell you, when you're earning good money in your early years, even in your middle years, I can tell you, you're very, very casual with what you do with it. Everybody wants something, you give them. Everybody wants something, you just give them. You do, We've got to be a little more judicious about our money. And we educate our younger people from the time you start to work, even if it's a part-time job. I've deviated a little bit from retirement because this one really, I think, is what we also need to educate on. Even if they've got a part-time job, a weekend job, they must find it possible to save $150 a month, even if they give you to open that index vehicle for them, to do that index strategy for them. Might be a hard sell because the environment doesn't really support what we're teaching. But if we keep at it, we're going to get them there. So this morning I was talking to someone. I said to him, I said, look, you have a teenager, you have another ambition which you want, which is to buy a house and so on and so on. I said, yes, I understand that. But here what we need to do for that 16-year-old you've got. Spend $100 every month and put it somewhere for him. And then some other ones, they're 20-something-year-olds, they're working part-time, going to school. They got part-time money because they buy lattes. They buy all them other things, whatever's the other things. But just a couple of lattes less, and they put up $100. As I tell people, I was 19. I was living on a certain amount, very small amount of money as a scholarship student in the United Kingdom. But I put up money out of that. I don't know why I was doing it. I just say, yeah, you're supposed to put a little money up, you put it up. And when my son began to go to university, I was able to take all of that and I hand it to him. So every little bit matters. It matters for our retirement, but our retirement is important that we take the decisions at the right time, right? So I know it's 9:19 and you've heard quite a bit. And the most important thing is taking action because, as I say, procrastination with our finances can lead to financial what? I don't even remember the word. Devastation. So we've got to be careful. It's not a game for the rich, it's a game for us. It's education for us. I feel very strongly about it. It's education for us, and we need to take action on it. So, on those words, if you have no other questions and you haven't fallen asleep, I hope, or you're not scrolling on your phone, we could always talk again. But let's talk this week. And I have another meeting which is coming up in another 10 minutes. So I've got to switch gears and yeah, get to that. So a pleasant night to everybody. Miss Grace, I see you. Miss Carlita, I see you too. I see Miss Enid and Miss Kim. Well, I know those folks.
Very
That's
good
fine.
presentation done.
Oh, thank you, Enid. Thank you. But I see two people here that I don't know, and that is why I want to ask them, Miss Carlita and Miss Grace. Whoever invited you?
I've been on earlier
Oh, you've been? Okay, well,
presentation.
I hope you have heard enough
Yeah,
now that you
maybe
need to make
maybe
that
last
step.
year.
Make
But
that. Oh, last year? It's a
I'm
whole next
beyond.
year.
I'm beyond. I'm almost at retirement. So,
What do
but
you mean you're beyond? What, I mean,
it doesn't hurt. No, I'm not saying that I can't, make use of any of the information you've given me, but I'm just saying I'm not at that earlier or midway point. I'm at retirement now. So
yeah. So are you more than 65?
I'm 70.
Good
You're
girl,
a
that's the
70-year-old.
age.
I love
Yeah.
you, girl, man. You at 70 and you stock and strong up, so
I'm
man. I
yeah, I'm
like it.
still
I like it.
working. I'm still
And
working and
what?
I'm
So you gonna pay some
pending
fat taxes.
retirement. Yeah. Hopefully
We
this
still need to
year.
talk. We still need to talk. Let
Hallelujah.
me tell you. I yeah, I don't give up on any situation. I really try. Um yeah, it's really gotta be. So no, we still need to talk. You still working?
Yeah,
We
I'm
don't need
still
to
working.
talk. Of course you are. Of course you are. Why not? There's a lady I met, she
Yeah.
drives, she's 83 and she just had her tax returns done. You better believe it.
Wow.
She
Uh-oh.
doesn't work
Life
every
is
day. She works 3 days a week. She's 83. She drives to work. And I
life
say,
is
you
for
know what? I want
living.
to be like that. I want to be like that. I want to be like that. Healthy and wealthy, but healthy first.
Yeah,
Healthy
that's
first.
important.
So, Grace, we will talk. We can talk. There's always some small
Yeah,
space. Yeah. And it doesn't have to be
definitely.
$500,000. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And if you've got grandkids or kids, then you need to somehow, I don't know how you just drag them on, but I don't tell you, I don't have a recipe for that one. Try and try again, boys, you'll succeed at last. That's all I do. And pray hard. Because they said here, they're a little different. But they're still ours, so we can't give up.
Yeah.
Gotta persuade, and get them moving, get them moving. They'll hear. They'll hear. All right, my good folks. So, Grace,
Good night.
whoever
Thank you, Dawn, for your
invited you or whatever,
presentation.
you can talk with me, you can talk with Tora. I don't know who brought you on, who invited you on, but
Dora, I know,
let's make some
I
sense
know
of what you're
Helen.
doing. Miss Helen, so who brought you?
No,
Looking at
Tora.
Grace Peterson, I'm
Tora.
saying
Well,
it
I
looks
know
like
Helen.
somebody I know.
Yes, it's me, Helen.
Okay, well, let's
Okay,
get a roll. Let's get a
small
roll.
world.
Come on. I don't give up. We don't give up. We do.
Okay,
We do.
good night.
All right, guys. I've
Okay,
got to
good
be
night.
at this
Thank
meeting
you
in
for your
another
presentation.
so good night, everyone, and thank you for being on. But do one thing for me. If you're not going to do it for yourself, talk to somebody about it. Talk to another 50-something, 60-something, a 70-year-old. Talk to them.
To me.
Tell them, hey, please don't leave this money wherever you got it. Under the bed, the pillow, the sack, the whatever. I don't know, but
Talk to me.
talk to and never have regrets. So wherever the information reaches us, we start working on it to the best of our ability. You just don't throw our hands up. No. Life is a living.
Great.
All right. Good night.
Okay,
Bye.
good night.
Bye-bye.
Then let me see.